Welcome back to the 25 Days of Puppy Christmas Card Ideas, where we're helping you to decide what you're going to do for your Christmas cards with your dogs this year, plus 24 ideas that you could be using on your social media as an advent calendar leading up to the big Christmas card reveal. This one is really fun because it only involves cute, cozy sweaters and some fun hats. The 25 Days of Puppy Christmas Card series can be done with one or many dogs, created with a traditional camera or your phone, done in your house or outside, and range from elegant and refined to fun and quirky, so there's a fit for everyone. And don't forget, these photo shoot ideas also make for great social media advent calendars, even if they aren't all going to be used on your Christmas cards. If you're using a traditional camera, I recommend you set up a remote shutter release through a clicker or an app on your phone so you can take photos from where you're posed. If you're using your phone, I recommend you set it to cinematic video and take screenshots of the best frames after, since pups tend to move around a lot and you don't want to stress over missing the shot. Each of these episodes is designed for a specific card template that will link in the caption, but you can use this on whatever template works best for you. For this card, I would love for you to head outside, but you can do this inside as well. Your goal here is to be cozy and go with sweater weather vibes. So you are looking for something that is going to be holiday-ish. It can be just a cute sweater. I pulled just a cute sweater to be a little bit different, but you can also do Christmas colors. You can do ugly Christmas sweaters. You can do Christmassy designs, whatever you like. And my dog and I wore sweaters and hats. Now you can be matchy about them. You and your dog can match. Your hat and your sweater can match, whatever you want. I kind of like having pops of different colors. So pulling in different things that you can use to kind of create a unique, eclectic photo. Your goal here is to make it look chilly and inviting with those warm, cozy sweaters. So I like to do this outside because you can actually change it, even if it is warm where you are, to look like it's cool, to look like it's chilly. You can add snow if you want. We've done that in other cards that you can check out. But this is a really good way for you to bump up that weather outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful kind of vibes as you are creating your Christmas cards. And like I said, sweaters can match. They don't have to match. They can be ugly Christmas sweaters. They can be pretty and cute Christmas sweaters. They don't have to be Christmas sweaters at all. You are going for whatever makes you feel good and feel comfortable, but you're looking to pair a sweater and hat as if you are going out. It's about to snow for the first time this year and you're in your sweater. You don't need a heavy jacket on. You've got your cute little hat and you're going to go have fun as the weather changes over from that cool to that snowy version of your life as you are creating it with your card. Shop or whichever photo editing platform you are going to be using, and we're going to start with our local retouches, meaning if you've got dark shadows under your eyes, you're going to use your clone tool at 28% opacity. You're going to grab the skin on your forehead or your cheek and you're just going to go ahead and paint that into it so it brightens it up just a tiny bit. If you need to retouch your dog's face, you can use your clone tool, spot heal tools. You can use your sharpening tools to sharpen those eyes and puppy noses if you need to. Whatever you need to do. And if you want to do some color matching, you can do that as well. So let's just say we wanted our hats to match colors. Maybe I don't want that gray color. Maybe I want that green color. I'm going to go use my color picker tool. And then I'm just going to grab my paintbrush and I'm going to paint it over the hat. Now I could have used my quick selection tool to actually highlight that hat so that I didn't have to worry about going outside the lines, and it will just pick that for me. And then on my actual layer with the paint, I can go ahead and I can paint that in. And I can do this to my sweater too. I can do it to the dog's outfits, all of those things. You can tell now it's clearly been painted. We're going to change our blend mode down to color. And all of a sudden I've got a green hat. She's got a green hat. I might have a too intensely green hat, which means I will just reduce that opacity to make it a little more realistic looking. And all of a sudden we're starting to match. And so you can kind of change that opacity however you're going to need it. If you need to change the color of your sweater, you can do that too. Do it on a separate layer if it's a different color, because you're going to need to change that opacity to different rates. So let's just paint that in there. I didn't actually need to lasso that. And I can change my blend mode down to color. And then I can continue to paint that on. This is a little bit harder if you've got hair over your sweater, so I recommend doing it over things that don't have hair, because getting around those pieces of hair without the color going on it can be a royal pain, but you have the ability to just kind of paint this in here. You are going around hair or near hair. I do recommend that you are reducing the opacity of the brush and painting it on layers at a time, just so that you don't have to try to like paint it off of the hair. Get it painted in, you can then change your opacity to match whatever you need. So you may want like a lighter green color, and now all of a sudden everything is starting to tie in. So if you don't have things that are matchy and you want to be a little more matchy, you can color adjust inside of what you're doing. Now maybe your background is a little too bright. Maybe you want to make it a little more wintry. So we are just going to highlight part of that background there with our lasso tool. We're going to add in a new layer, and this time we are going to go into a dark blue. You're looking for like a dark navy color, and you are just going to paint that in here, and we're going to make sure it's on 100% opacity. There we go. And we're going to be able to paint in the rest as well, but this is just for us to kind of color swatch and see what it is. We're going to change our blend mode down to color, and now we've got a very blue scape. We just want to lighten that up a little bit, and when you start painting that in different locations, you're going to want to be mindful of where you're painting it, how you're painting it, all of those things. We actually showed you how to do this in the episode where we added the snow overlay, so this is going to be super brief. That one is a little more in-depth. You are definitely going to want to watch that if you are trying to color tone this down, and then you can just kind of paint that in as you need. You can actually add from the other one. You can add a snow overlay if you want to make it a little more snowy. Maybe you want to kind of make it look like more of a wintry scene. And so you're just going to paint where you need to paint. And if you don't like the blue tones, let's say we don't want to make it blue, and there's a lot more you would do. You would not leave it this way. But let's say we would just want to tone down these colors. There's a whole bunch of ways to do it. We've talked about it in other episodes. An easy way is for you to just lasso part of that. You're going to come into your hue and saturation and pull down your saturation. All of a sudden, it takes away a lot of that yellowness, and then you can play with how dark it is, how bright it is. We're typically going to want to pull that down and then add a brightness and contrast panel to it. So we are then just going to be able to paint that on with a soft brown brush, 100% opacity, to the rest of those leaves to kind of color tone those down so that you can add that to your color template or to your card template when you are done. And we're just going to be very careful as we go around skin, very careful as we go around fur. You're going to want to use a smaller brush when you're getting in there. And again, like with all these things, you do want to, when you are trying to blend it into something like a dog's fur or your hair or whatever, lower the opacity and do it in layers so that you don't have to do too much work to remove it. So you see I just went over her little ear a little too much. That would have been easier to deal with if I had it on a lower opacity. In order to take that off of her as soon as I'm done with this, there we go, that kind of helped it a little bit. We color toned that down. I'm going to then go in, make sure I'm on that panel, and then with a soft black brush, then I can just kind of go over her nose a little bit, go over her ear, and tweak the things that I didn't want the way that I wanted them to be. And then I'll just grab my, again, lasso tool. I'm going to highlight a corner of that. I'm going to grab my brightness and contrast, and I'm going to make this more contrasty because right now it's a very flat color. We don't like flat coloring. We want to make sure it is bold to match the rest of our image. I'm just going to go over those trees. Now all of a sudden it's starting to pull that a little bit more together. And now all of a sudden we've got it so we're popping a little bit more and this is popping a little bit less. So then we're going to add in our overall brightness and contrast where we are going to bump up the contrast. We bump up the brightness just a tiny bit. If I want to, I can blur the background a little bit more. We've talked about that in other episodes, but this is pretty good. I'm going to move forward with this and put this into our template. Then you can drop your photo into your template. As you can see, we've got the sweater weather vibes here. We've got this pop of green up at the top, which is a little bit transparent, allows you to see through the rest of your image. We've got our little sweater hanging here, and we've got our sweater weather vibes. It's got lots of space for you to then write your message. You can lean into those sweater weather vibes, the cozy feels. You can lead into the hats. You can lead into, of course, something with snow if you're going to be adding that as well. Make sure you are checking out the other episode with the snow overlays. That's going to benefit you in so many ways if that's what you want to do here. But this is really fun just to add a little pop of color and really keep the focus on you and your pup in your cute Christmas gear. And you are going to then be able to send this out to your friends and family. Message on the back, message on the front, whatever works best for you. Now for this card, you have the ability to do either a single image with an overlay, or you can do a windowed card with multiple versions of this. So if you and your dog are just having all the fun in the world, you can actually do it so that you've got different windows where you're looking at each other, you're looking away, you're looking at the world together, you're looking and smiling at the camera, whatever you want to do. You can have multiple viewpoints, kind of like a photo booth is really fun idea for this one. Or you can just do that single image with overlays or with a frame around it that's going to give off that cozy sweater weather vibe. Think mittens, think hats, think fireplace. Anything that's going to be sweater weather version is what you want to do inside of your cards. And of course, if you like the card that I've created, I'll link that down below for you as well. And stay tuned because we have more ideas for you for your 25 days of puppy Christmas cards that you can use on social media leading up to the big reveal of your Christmas card this year. We've got some fun ones, and all of them have really cool Photoshop tips in there for beginners. So if you want to do some fancy photo work, even though you're brand new, Watch the other episodes. They give you really good tips for retouching and how you can be changing the color toning of your image and creating the things that you're creating inside of the cards that you're designing this year. And if you've got questions, go ahead and drop those down below. Follow along because more episodes are coming with lots of ideas you can use on social and in your Christmas cards. We'll see you there.